Hello, everybody. My name is Deirdre Karen. Today, I'm super excited to have Kitty Hung come and talk to us, not only about AI and business analysis, but also her book. So, Kitty has got a PhD in computer science, a PhD thesis in dynamic business object architecture, is an author of two books? Is that correct, Kitty?
One book.
One book, okay. Consultant, lead analyst, so very busy lady. So it's real pleasure to have you join me today. So Kitty, let's talk a little bit about you. So can you tell me a bit about yourself? How did you get into this field? Give me some background.
First of all, good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everybody in the world. Thank you very much for having me. It's such a privilege to be able to join your podcast. I am based in London, so it's nice to have some audience in New Zealand, which is like how many miles away? 17,000 miles away? Yeah. So talk about my background. My background actually computer science and technology. I'm quite technical. I got my PhD in the 90s. As you could say, then when I finished my PhD, I actually remained in the university to continue my research, took up the position as a postdoctoral research fellow. To continue my research, working with people, I like problem solving. And when I moved to the industry, I was on what they need, capture the requirements, and turn the requirements to the solutions. And I like working with people. I like problem solving. And I think it's a very rewarding job. After I finished a couple of years in the industry, I moved to central government. I joined the London Metropolitan Police as a senior business analyst and senior project manager. And I stayed there for 15 years. And then I moved back to the private sector. And I took up a position in consultancy sector. And then I joined defense industry and consultancy industry, and my clients from telecommunication, like smart meter, Internet of Things, emerging technologies, defense technology, aviation technology, government, central government sector projects. 2.5 years ago, I was very honored to be made the British Computer Society, the Chartered Institute of IT Fellow. And that was the time is my turning point that I had nearly 3 decades of experience, predominantly as a business analyst. I want to create a product for myself to gather all the sources, all the knowledge in one place, hyperlinks and copy and paste all the materials, so that I can actually use these products as a tool when I go to different clients, different sector, different projects that I can use, save me some time to look for my research in all over the place. Then I thought to myself, maybe I can create a book and sell it to make some money, which I did. So in February this year, I published my book called Business Analysis in the Era of Generative Artificial Intelligence. The book predominantly is about business analysis. The AI bit is just the equipment, the tool to help to help business analysts do their job better, to give them a boost in productivity and efficiency. I'm currently working on the second edition of my book, my second book, which I want to take further about how to exploit the technology. But my book always is I would say, it's an assurance to the business analysts that they will not be replaced by AI. If you look at the recent outage caused by CrowdStrike and Microsoft, they disabled 8.5 million Windows computers all over the world, but it needs a human to physically and manually reboot the computer, to delete the faulty file, the driver, and then to restart the computer, which takes in between 10 to 15 minutes each computer times 8.5 million. So, so you can, I leave it to you to add it up how many billions of minutes they have to spend physically. So it gives me some self-reflection that we human BAs, we still have a place in the industry, in our career. We just have to do our job differently. So that's, I think I'm going to focus in my next book about the value of our human skills, human intelligence, and our soft skill, that we not only we can remain a place, keep the place in the industry, but also we can thrive in the AI era.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting space. So maybe let me ask you this question. So if we look at business analysis, there's a lot of documentation that's part of the role. Analyzing information, looking at information, documenting information. And analysts are at different levels. For instance, a junior analyst often ends up just documenting project information, whereas a senior analyst would work with people more, truly try to understand the problem and those kind of things. As you mentioned, the soft skills, being able to work with people, that's really important. But do you think everybody has the competency if you take away, let's say, some of the documentation work that AI can replace? Writing requirements and those kind of things, AI is pretty good at that kind of stuff. So what do you think of that kind of, okay, so you're a BA, but you're not very good at people skills and you're not very good at documentation, but isn't that a risk for them?
So one thing I would like to share with you is AI cannot think. We can. AI is based on algorithm. Algorithm is based on data set. And data set is the collection of people's knowledge, data, information. If our knowledge is tacit knowledge, that's not documented down, it doesn't exist in the data set. It means that the algorithm cannot use the data set because the data set is not there. And then the output will not be there with the knowledge. So we, in our human mind, we have the quality that we are curious. We are not scared of uncharted territory. We would like to explore more. That's why we got these people to climb Mount Everest Explorer, because they're curious. It is the curiosity drives innovation. Use AI as a tool, but don't let it be the master. We are the master. So no matter how far the AI advance, it's just so important to use our human mind to understand other people's pain point. Because as you will agree with me, the world is not going to run out of problems. We have so many problems to solve in terms of healthcare, climate change, natural disasters, and so many problems. And also, it goes without saying, the global geopolitics events.
Yeah, that's nasty.
Yeah, so we have some social problems. So we have all the pestle problems: political, economic, social, technological, legal, environmental problems we can solve. So as a BA, don't worry about the AI, don't worry about technology first. Worry about what are the pain points from the clients, what are the problems from the clients. In terms of documentation, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. You don't have to have a long documentation. if you have if you can go straight down to the point to identify the real issues and then to document down, quality always over quantity.
Yeah.
And yes, you're absolutely right. AI can automate some templates and documentation or even user stories. But what if the pain points are new, emerging? Then we still need the humans to document down, to identify the new pain point, new emerging problems. Because AI, the data sets in AI is not a complete picture of the world. So for me, as a business analyst, it's still very extremely important to capture accurately, correctly, the client's pain points and the requirements, and to be able to connect the dots amongst different stakeholders because they have different issues, different problems. You want to see whether they share the same boat or they have conflicting requirements. So these you need the human skill, the soft skills to, and also some kind of curiosity to probe the clients, the questions. I don't think AI can replace that. AI can replace, I tell you what AI can do is after the requirements, as you can see, the generative AI, the large language model, has the capability to understand natural language. So it means that if I give the command in natural language to the code generator, the code interpreter tool, it can pretty good in generating the computer code for execution. So that bit, I think we can go straight from requirements in natural language to computer code. In between, traditionally, we as a BA, we are like a middle person between business communities and the technology implementation community. Developers, they focus on writing the code. They want to be told or instructed down to the point in a modular level. They don't like abstract language. They don't like something ambiguity. They don't like it. So we as a BA, traditionally, we turned the requirements into graphical representations like UML, Unified Modeling Language. They're like class diagram, use case diagram, sequence diagram, components diagram, business processes, BPMN, modeling and notation. The reason why we turn our requirements into the graphical representation is to make it easier for the development community to understand, okay, I'm going to write this code with this, for example, class diagram. There's a child class and parent class, and then I can just code it. But with the generative AI, it can generate the code from natural language. So it means that now the programmer can understand natural language. So as long as we focus good quality requirements that the clients really need, then we probably pretty good in doing our job as a BA. In terms of documentation, once you got the good requirements, you document down. It depends on what the project needs, what kind of documentation. Do you want functional specification, non-functional specification, or business requirement documentation? Some organizations, I work in central government and large organization, and some organizations who are highly regulated, like insurance and aviation. They actually, the purpose of their documentations is for audit purpose. So they have the audit trail, say these are the evidence that where the requirements come from. You got the people to sign off. And these are the documentations for like risk, to reduce the risk. To look at like the project plan, the timeline, the budget and all this. So documentation not all the documentations is for project deliverable, but the documentation for regulations, for compliance, for audit trail, this will not go away. This won't go. So it means that we as a BA, we still have a job to produce the documentations.
You've made some really interesting points, and I just want to roll back a little bit around this idea that once you have the requirements, you can actually have the code. Now, I actually was talking to someone today about this very thing because I don't think people understand that doing a UML diagram is for the coder to understand how to code. But from an AI perspective, when the requirements are set, you basically have a prototype that you're already working with. And then the analyst or the actual user themselves can look at that prototype and go, no, it's not required. And so there's a whole part of the process of change that we do that is being accelerated, if you want to call it that, because you're absolutely right. But most people don't think like that. This is not a normal thing for people to think, that we don't need to use, let's say, like I was talking about strategy, particularly today. We don't have to choose a Norton Kaplan model versus, let's say, a business model canvas. We don't have to do that. We can create a strategy with AI. We only use the diagrams to help us break down the information in a particular way. But once you have a strategy, you can go through the entire requirements verification process and move on to a deliverable or an artifact directly. So it's quite profound, and I don't think everybody truly understands what you're saying. There seems to be a gap. What are your thoughts around this, let's say, just this lack of understanding of what AI can actually produce with this natural language?
As I said earlier, there's a transition. We can't just wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to just use artificial intelligence to do my job. I forget about everything I have done in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
It's a transition. And there are products in the market. Click the button. I want to generate a sequence diagram. I want to generate a class diagram or a components diagram or a use case scenario diagram. It does for you. So if people still want to look at the diagrams, there are various AI tools that can automatically generate the diagrams based on the natural language instructions. And also with the license, people can take it and edit, further fine-tune, further refine, because you can just edit in Visio flow. So another tool is called draw.io. There are various tools that you can actually take it and then edit yourself. So to answer your questions, people need some time to transition to the AI world. If they don't feel comfortable or confident that their requirements could be understood by the implementation community, feel free to generate the diagrams and then maybe just share the thought and using the graphical representation, the diagram, to say, maybe to validate with the clients, say, you told me so-and-so, this is the picture representing what you just told me about the processes or about your interaction with systems. Is it what you meant using a diagram instead of using not documentary, instead of giving with the users actually a working software?
Yeah.
But in my personal experience, I can only speak for myself, because different people, they have different preferences, they have different ways of working. I can comfortably bypass the modeling bit, the software modeling bit.
Yeah.
Because the prototype generated by the AI It's what the end product, the clients is expecting. The end product, the deliverable is not a bunch of diagrams because they won't be able to use the diagrams to do their job. They have the tools, they have the interface, they have the pages, the navigation, the button to click, the box to fill out what they want, or the performance that they need. Yeah. Also, I found that my relationship with the users has improved because I have the working prototype. That's why I'm such a quick fan of agile development, because it's the minimum viable product. When they see a working application in front of them in a very short space of time, they have smile on their face. The way to impress the clients, you're talking about efficiency, effectiveness, yeah. That's the way to showcase to the clients. However, as I said, if BAs feel a bit uncomfortable or not very confident to actually show the prototype, the working prototype, validate with the clients, feel free to generate the diagrams. They don't need to do it from scratch. They don't need to manually draw because they have tools around. They can generate the software modeling.
Yeah. These are such important points. And I think people look at the way that I look at AI is more of a resource than a tool. And the interesting side of it, you go, it's almost like having a helper that's getting you to do things faster. Somebody described it as a junior or someone who's just left, let's say, university. It knows some stuff, but it still needs to learn how things actually work. And so when we look at being able to be agile, being able to, and this isn't an agile methodology, this is an agile thinking. It's almost like design thinking, actually, where you go in and you prototype and you work with people quickly to not just talk about what they might need and go back and document it and go through that process, because AI can fulfill that process pretty quickly, but actually to be able to prototype, as you mentioned. And in the Babok guide specifically, it mentions that a requirement and design are one in the same thing. And then it's not quite, the requirement is about the need of the client, but the design is around the solution of the client, right? Essentially, it's allowing us to toggle between those two interfaces, requirement and design, much quicker, because AI can bridge that gap a lot faster. Do you think that business analysts are going to need to understand designs more? Or do you think it's just going to be the same process?
First of all, it's all about experience. It's not always right. AI can be wrong. Hallucination, all these gibberish coming out from the output. So as a BA, we still need to fine tune, to quality check the output generated by the AI tools. So when you talk about, do we as a BA just focus on requirements and let the solution people to think about what they are going to do? There is a very fine line between requirements and design, because let me tell you, in your house, you want a new kitchen. You get a kitchen company to come to fit your kitchen. You told the people where you want color, tile, all this. These are your requirements, right? As a customer. But no, it's also your design. Because you specifically, you want an island in the middle of your kitchen so that you can do cooking, and you want the light above the island so that you can see clearly, and you want the sink to be there, you want the fridge freezer integrated, all this. Although these are your requirements, these are also your design. Because you have a thinking that you want something, it's already in your mind. And then you tell the kitchen company, they just come to fit the use this kitchen scenario in the workplace.
Mm.
Your clients, okay, you will tell your kitchen company that my kitchen's too small, or I don't have enough storage space. I want more storage space. That's why, and some problem with the piping and all this, yeah. And these are your problems. And then you told your kitchen people the requirements. So use this as a scenario in the workplace, and then your clients told you about their pain point. They can't do this, they can't do it, take so long, and always system always crash and all these, yeah. These are the problems. And then there's a need to have a new systems or the modification of the existing system or extension of the existing system, whatever. Give them a fit for purpose tool that they can do their job. When they give you their requirements that they want this, they want that, it already contains the components of design thinking, because that's what they want. They want specifically the processes that when they use the system synchronize with their business processes, the way they work on the day-to-day business operations. So for me, requirements actually already contains the design. And then, so it's a nature, the BA already a kind of wear the hats of a designer hat, a requirements hat and a design hat, without even knowing it. Without even knowing, because if you work with architects and developers, in fact, they actually rely on us because we are the interface with the stakeholders. The architects cannot invent or make things up because it's all based on the requirements. What the architects is going to implement is the how. So we as a BA, we capture requirements, and then the requirements contain the design. We have all the what's. And the architect take away and say, okay, TT, the BA has got all the what's, yeah? And then now I'm going to think about how to implement this. In what channel, what technology, what platform, what manner, and based on the budget or timeline or all this, or the technology available or cybersecurity and all these factors. So the solution architect will be responsible for the how. So I hope I have answered your question. We don't know it, but in fact, we are actually mixing already the requirements and the design together.
Yeah.
Is it a good example? Is it a good example using the kitchen?
I love using metaphors. I often talk about designing a house in a very similar way. And it's just to help, because when you work in the digital environment, it's quite difficult to understand some of these concepts because it's conceptual, right? These are things that you can't tangibly touch or really understand. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Let's talk about the future. And I suppose some of your book is going to cover this as well, but what do you see happening in the next 5 to 10 years? So what does the business landscape look like? Are there any clear shifts that you can see? And what do you anticipate with AI and analysis and architecture and all of those types of things?
So in my opinion, I look at the both pros and cons side, achievement and also the challenges in front of us in the next 5 years. So in my humble opinion and in my own research, in a good case scenario, by 2029, I hope the world will be able to solve the problems that we are unable to solve now in 2024. For example, drug discovery, a lot of new drugs tested based on the AI extrapolation, because AI can handle really large, vast amount of data and to do all the algorithm calculations. So it makes it a lot easier to discover the treatment for example, terminal illnesses or cancer. And also, for example, Elon Musk, his Neuralink company, they're trying for patients to just use the thought to control the movement. So there's a good case scenario, hopefully in 2029, that there are problems that we are unable to solve that would be able to solve, or at least trial and testing by 2029. In terms of the BA role, in 2029, I am very confident business analysts will still be around, but the way they do things will be differently. With the generative AI and AI, machine learning, all this technology, replacing the mundane task, automate the mundane task, the repetitive task. We as business analysts, we free up our time to do something more strategic and high value. For example, traditionally, now we go to a project, we report to the project manager, and we capture requirements for this particular project. And then we help deliver the solution for this particular project. It's very rare that we challenge the project whether it aligns to the corporate strategy and corporate mission. I think in the future, we're moving up out of the project scope. We look at how to help organizations make profits, stay competitive, how to help government to become more efficient, more effective, and maybe in defense industry, how to make our country more resilient from all the geopolitical challenges. So we will have a higher place to deliver our knowledge and expertise to the organization, not just the project base, but also the whole organization in the, if you like, corporate level, portfolio level, and business level. It's all about winning, more competitive, using the Michael E. Porter 5-Force model.
Yeah.
How to tackle the challenge about existing rivalry, new entries, alternative products or services, bargaining powers of suppliers, and bargaining powers of customers. So think in the future, because the technology free up our time to do all this mundane work, because you save a lot of time by producing software modeling and documentation. So free up the time to become a real business analyst.
Yeah.
And then I will become, as a BA, will become the critical friends of CEO, C-suite executives. And then we'll be able to say to the CEO, listen to me.
That would be good, right?
That's how I produce the roadmap recommendations for you to thrive in your business, to improve your efficiency, to lower your cost, to improve your cost reduction, cost saving, to reduce your risk. Imagine if we, in the recent outage, Microsoft and CrowdStrike outage, I just published an open letter on LinkedIn to the CEO of Microsoft, Satya, and Dalla, and also the CEO of CrowdStrike, George Crush. And I recommend the steps that they need to do as part of the business continuity and disaster recovery. As a business analyst, I am already doing the job, the activity beyond project scope.
Yeah.
I recommend that you, forget about pointing fingers, blaming each other. This is what you need to do in the future. You have to do all the BCDR. You have to test it, plan it. You have to make sure all the steps are in place so that you can eliminate, I cannot say prevent, eliminate this situation from happening again. So it means that we BA transitioned from a business analyst to business advisor. And that's my first book. It's all about using our soft skill, our human intelligence, we look beyond project scope and really deliver real value for organization. I work, no name mentioned, I work in really large organizations before, central government and large organization. I came across something which really frustrates me. Yeah. There are projects, initiatives based on someone very senior just want something shiny.
Yeah.
They just want a shiny toy. They want something work on iPad. They want to put a Windows applications on an iPad 10 years ago. The interoperability and compatibility are the two key obstacles to make a window applications running on an Apple iPad. But someone in a high up said, I want this because the iPad looks really nice, really shiny. And then the project failed. And I was thinking, I knew that. I told you the project will fail. They cancel the project and then they replace it years later. They have to find the money, yeah. And then they replace the iPad with a Windows tablet. So, but as a business advisor, I want to be able to be fearless and go to the top person, business owner, organizational head, and then I said to you, don't do this. Because I got this evidence, it's not financial viable, it's not fit for purpose, and it's not practical. I want to be able to, I want the business analyst, not just myself, I want all the business analysts to upskill themselves, to be able to challenge organization, to be able to upskill themselves with the knowledge that this is how I think will improve efficiency in the organization. You can see a lot of business owners, like CEO, business owners, they're not really IT savvy because they are operational, business, finance, that kind of people. How do we convince them to invest and embrace technology and automation? This is our job. They say, okay, if you automate this, automate that, use the technology, that will have good impact in your financial record, in your income and your profitability. And also talk about embrace automation, which includes the data-driven decision making. If we use the technology, for example, AI, machine learning, use the data intelligence, we'll be able to produce more evidence to help organizational leaders, the senior leadership team, to make more informed and astute decisions. So it's a win solution. So there's so much we business analysts, we can upskill ourselves to develop our skills to deliver more sophisticated and high value work to help organization not just to deliver a successful project, but to deliver a successful business. I'm very positive and optimistic about the future in the next 5 years. But we cannot just sit pretending nothing happened. I was in the panel discussion recently in London in the British Computer Society. And in the panel discussion, there was a CTO sitting near me. He mentioned that with the generative AI, our coders, something we need to manually before, where it takes about 3 days to code this piece of programming. And now with the generative AI, it takes about 30 minutes. Yeah. So something manually created before will take 3 days, but now takes 30 minutes. So what do they do to free up their time? They can do more work. They can do more work. And I also, with this particular situation, it makes you think that what's the business model in consultancy sector? In the consultancy sector, traditionally, they charge customers time and materials. It's basically is to use a more generic term called body shop. They send out consultant and then they do the work. And this particular CTO He's the CTO in the consultancy sector. He said there is a moral high ground. Now, we used to charge the clients 3 days of this piece of work, but now it's actually 30 minutes with generative AI, the code generator. Do we just keep charging the clients 3 days as before, or do we charge the clients 30 minutes for this work? If we do 33 days, then you are actually lying to your customers.
Yeah.
But if you charge 30 minutes, then your profit reduced 80%, something like that, 80, 90, 95% or something like that.
Yeah.
And I said to this person, I said, it's not even a question. The clients know. And he just, wow, he was like, his face a bit like stern.
Yeah.
And with my comments, yeah, clients know. So now, talking about the next 5 years challenges, I'm talking about, I have just talked about all the new good things, but now I have to face the reality, and I also look at the challenges for the next 5 years. The biggest challenges I am really concerned about is the cybersecurity. You and me, we are good people. We use the technology, you use the generative AI to improve our efficiency, to give our efficiency a big boost, and to free up our time to do good things and more sophisticated things. At the same time, the cyber criminals, they also use the artificial intelligence and generative AI to help them automate their criminal activities. So there will be a lot of attacks and phishing and Trojan horse and deepfakes. So when I'm talking to you, with the technology, you could be just a deepfake AI personality. I don't know whether you're real or not. That will happen in the future. For example, fake job interviews, and then, oh, I'm going to offer you the job, but we need to do security clearance. That you need to pay £200 to this account. And then you thought you've been offered a job by ABC company, and then you transfer the money to a bank account, and the company disappear. That already happens. That already happened when people have the FaceTime. They use the AI as a relative to borrow money from. My main concern is the cybersecurity. How do we distinguish the real person and the deepfake person? And how do we be more savvy and more smart to actually spot the questionable email, or look at the link icon? Should we click or should we not click? Or someone send you a friend request on LinkedIn. Do you know whether it's a bot account or a real person account? They generate the LinkedIn account very convincing.
Yeah.
And with all the qualifications and job experience, but how do you validate that? It is really difficult. So my second challenges are the resources. So let me tell you, currently, there's only one company in the world, one single company in the whole world making AI chip. If anything happens to NVIDIA, what happens to the AI development? Because they need the AI chips to train the data, And also, people already complain about the NVIDIA chips are very expensive because there's no competition. Then they already secure orders from Microsoft and OpenAI and Google and all these big companies. So they are sitting there and just looking at money rolling in. Talking about risk, it's really high risk to have one single AI chip company in the whole entire world. NVIDIA and also the Taiwan Semiconductor, TSMC, because they work together. But there's one company. That's the risk.
There's too much power in one company.
Too much power. And then if they can name the price, it means that the AI will not be affordable. You're talking about digital divide. You're talking about inclusive. So it means that only people can afford high-spec computer, or they can afford to pay the subscription for the AI company. They can use the generative AI or more advanced technology. But what about people living in a council flat, low-income people? They won't be able to do that. So that's another challenges I recognize. And then my third challenge is big techs. Big techs, because they have the money, they can throw billions and billions to develop the AI. They're called Magnificent Seven in the world. The 6 big tech company plus NVIDIA, the Magnificent Seven. It goes without saying, I don't have to tell you what the 6 company. It is like Google, Microsoft, Apple, Meta, Twitter, and Tesla. I think it's and then NVIDIA. So it's a Magnificent 7 companies. And then these are all American companies. There's a global domination of the technology so these are the challenges I'm anticipating in the next 5 years.
I have 3 questions, so I'm just going to roll back a little bit. So the first thing was you were talking about the role of the business analyst really stepping up and providing advice. And for me, what I heard was get out of the role of managing issues and solve problems in the business. Really look at how problem solving can change things far more rapidly. So that might be a skill that needs to be really honed, because issue management is quite different from problem resolution and those kind of things. So that's what I heard way back then. Of course, there's multiple opportunities, and I almost want to mush. So my second thing or observation from your conversation was human behavior is unpredictable, right? And people have good intentions, and then there are those who don't. And both people can benefit from the technology, whether it's good intention or bad intention. What was really interesting, and maybe just for the watchers, the listeners, he was just saying that he had this phone call and he was fighting with a salesperson with this British accent. Now, we in New Zealand, so it's already not a traditional accent that you have. And basically this person wouldn't stop calling, right? And I said to him, it's probably a bot. And he was quite shocked because he's not uneducated, but it was so convincing. And I said to him, remember with AI, and so this is my tip for people, you have to start the conversation. The input is required. So when you get a number that you don't know, just hold. Because a normal human would respond, hello, is anyone still there? That's the normal human response. I'm sure they'll build this in too. But if you just keep it quiet, it'll just die. And so he was like, oh, so I've been shouting at this robot that doesn't know anything. So that's a really good point. Human behavior and being able to identify things when it's so close to mimicking real life, like that's really important. And then the third thing, if we look at the power and all of that is in specific groups, this is where I think we need to start supporting, number one, small businesses. Secondly, we need to start supporting the open community, the GitHubs, and those guys that are really on the edge and don't get the opportunity. But a lot of these big players, and I've seen it, are copying what these guys are doing. Now, I'm not saying they're copying everything, but it's like in the internet, everything was free in the beginning and then got monetized at some point. So we have to be very careful around those things. We can, even with the chip issues, we can download large language models onto our laptops today. And there are options that we need to be prepared for, I believe, in the future. We need to know that we can do these things and we can prepare for certain things. And with the open community like GitHub and those kind of things, there's also people who, what are they called? Trolls. They take what somebody has created and that is free, and then they try to patent it and apply for patents all over the world. And so unfortunately, we deal with human behavior. And I think it's very important, like you were saying, with the cybersecurity and all these things, to understand that this is not a technology issue. This is a human issue. This
Bad
is
actors.
something,
Bad
yeah.
actors, yeah.
And unfortunately, you can't get rid of it, but you have to, you can't be
Vigilant.
in the dark about it. You have to know these things so you can make good decisions. I think that's important. But yeah,
So,
that's very interesting.
yeah. So, talking about something really depressing. So the way forward would be, as you said, encourage more small businesses and startup. Universities need to put their act together to educate more people, encourage more people to take part in the STEM subjects. With the STEM subjects, you will be having more engineers coming out with the skills to make hardware, to make the chips. And then if you have more smaller companies with more competitions, then hopefully we will not be dominated by one company or one country. Unfortunately, as you said, human behavior is a human nature. Those big companies, what they do is that when they spot a small company doing cool stuff, they buy the whole business and then they give them billions and then keep them quiet. And Palmer Luckey, he's a very good example. His company was taken over by Meta for 400 million or several hundred million US dollars. And he was like 28 years old when his company, he make Oculus. He make the headset for the metaverse, yeah. He could choose to spend every single day in Barbados on the beach with 400 million. It will be enough for 10 generations when he's 10 great grandchildren. He chose to spend that money to develop another company, and now he's one of the contractors for the DoD, the Department of Defense in America, to look at using the technology to strengthen the resilience of the American military. He's my hero. He chose to do it, but I would say 9 out of 10 people, when they receive that hundreds of $1 million, they will just go to Las Vegas or Barbados because I actually personally know someone who retired at the age of 41, sold the company for several £100 million to a very large company in the UK, Logica. He sold the solution as a SAP solution. And then he just spends time just enjoying life. And I'm thinking, he's got a PhD from Imperial College. And he got rich very young age, early 30s. He's wasting his talents because he's got so much money enjoying it. And he's doing opera singing and horse riding and all this. That's sad. That is very sad. As I said, we know there's things we can do, there's things we can't do. If people choose to, and then if this happens again and again, then the situation won't change in 5 years' time. There'll still be the Magnificent Seven because they buy out the small startup. And there will still be America still on the in the very front of the curve, global domination. What I mean is the solution will be the education initiative. I think other countries like Australia, New Zealand, Europe, EU, Asia should create more competition so that we have the more inclusivity in the world in terms of technology. But at the current stage, I think there's one company and one country dominating the whole AI landscape. I don't have an answer. I'm just sharing my thought with you. What you asked me, what I see in the next 5 years' time. And the position of BA, if we do our job differently, we will have a place and we will still be well respected by our stakeholders. That's a bit of good news.
I think I would have a caveat, a good BA, right? You have to be good. You have to know what you're doing. I think it's the same thing. You can have someone who, any profession, you can have good architects and not so good architects. It's really around how you stay up to date.
Programmer, good tester,
Yeah. Okay, so my last question for you. I like this question. If you could go back in time and give Kitty a piece of advice, what would it be?
So if I go back in time 30 years ago, because I had been in the industry for 3 decades now, I when I was doing my PhD, I was involved in a very big insurance technology. I was one of the pioneers to take the insurance quotation capability online. At that time, there's a lot of opportunities in the insurance sector to engage in e-commerce because they can see the time saving and increase of profitability. But being 30 years ago, Kitty, I kind of, I'm bored. I want to do something new. I want to do something. I want to do different sector. I want to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So there's a depth and breadth that people can choose. Some people can want to choose just to focus in one sector and to develop themselves in the true expertise, a true expert in that vertical sector. Finance, insurance, pharmaceutical, retail, manufacturing, what have you. Military, defense, or some people they want to tap into different sectors, want to learn a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. I was the second one. I like to learn a little bit of that because I thought, oh, if I have a sweet army life, I have all the tools that I can go to, I can do different industries. And after all, as a BA, I don't need to learn about the industry. I just capture requirements. Fast forward 30 years later, and I realized that had I focused at that time in the insurance sector, by now I would have 30 years insurance expertise experience and a true expert business analyst to develop my skill to offer my advice to insurance sector as a key, playing the key role in the insurance sector. Yeah. Because nobody will challenge me working in the insurance sector for 3 decades as a BA, knows absolutely everything inside out. And probably financially we are even more rewarding. But this is just me, because you are asking about some people, they may say it's boring in just know one thing. And if I lose my job, then it's very difficult for me to transition to work in another sector. But I can tell you, my Swiss Army knives, they are not all sharp. Yeah, so if you ask me now, I probably, if the time goes back to 30 years ago, I probably stay in the insurance sector because it's a massive industry. It's a very interesting, you talk about the complexity of insurance policy, the calculation. To develop that skill, it takes time, takes years to do it. So to answer your question, I probably stay in the vertical industry because I think for me, in terms of career, and also I ask myself, insurance industry will never go away. Everybody needs insurance, travel, driving, credit insurance, business insurance, home insurance will never go away. So the industry is pretty safe. So I hope I have answered your question. Yes. This is from my personal viewpoint. I don't want to influence my viewers about, stay in the vertical industry because it all depends on the people career aspiration.
It's true. And look, I think people are smart enough to take advice and not have to just copy and paste what anyone says. Like for me, although I did spend a long time in energy, I think going down the breadth path was really helpful as a trainer. It gave me a really broad perspective that there's some things that are always the same and there's some things that are different depending on the sector. So I think it's good to say, if you're really passionate about this particular area, then pursue it. But if you maybe are moving into another area as a business analyst, and like I was saying for myself, from a training perspective, it's good to know the breadth. So people need to make their own choices. And if they can't recognize that your advice or your self-learning is something that they can take with them to think about, and they think they've just got to copy it, then Unfortunately, they're going to copy everything. So I agree. It's good advice. It's saying, where do you want to specialize? It's really about them asking the right questions. Like, how do you want your career to look like in 30 years' time? And so if you stay in the energy sector, for instance, like I could have gone down that vertical as well. However, it wasn't the path for me, and I'm happy. I'm happy that I got other experiences because it helped me see things differently. Kitty, it's been amazing chatting to you, and I'm sure we can even longer. You've got a wealth of knowledge and experience. So, firstly, your book. Let's talk about that quickly. And then, how can people get in touch with you? Where is your book? What are the key topics that you cover in your book, and how can people get hold of it?
My book. This is QR code for my book. Yeah, and sorry. The QR code for my book. Yeah, and my book. If people go to Amazon, what they need to key in my name, Dr. Kitty Hung, and at the moment, I'm still the only Dr. Kitty Hung in the world have a book published on Amazon. It's pretty easy just to go to Amazon. And what I just discussed with you in the last hour is basically a summary of my book. A summary. If people want to learn a bit more about how to transition from a project scope BA to a business enterprise scale business advisor, the steps are all in the book.
Good.
Yeah. And also some pitfalls about artificial intelligence. Look at the cybersecurity, hallucination, and be smart. And also make use of our brain. Our brain is better than the AI brain. And also, I think this book is an assurance to the business analysis community that we change the way we work to make use of our human intelligence. We won't be threatened by the technology. So this is my simple example is with an artificial intelligence, generative AI, we use it to improve our efficiency, but we move on to do something the AI can't do. It's limitless, the things we can do, the AI can't do.
I agree with you. People have to know that they have to navigate through the space and not just wait and hope everything's fine. But on the other hand, new jobs will happen, new things will be done, better ways to save things. So thanks very much, Kitty.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful having you here. We will put the links on the blog, post this just so that everyone can get access to all of that information. So good luck with your book and your
the second book.
That you are busy putting together, and well done for doing that. That's great. So,
it's about knowledge sharing and legacy leaving to the next generation. I'm not going to be around forever. So I'm a training mentor. I'm mentoring young BA in their early career in their 20s. So in their 20s, and they want to look at, sometimes they may change their mind to do something else, but it's all about their career aspiration, and they enjoy and contribute to the society. So that's me, and I'm so happy to be invited to share my thought with the audience. Thank you so much for the invitation, and I really enjoyed the session.
Yes, me too. It was great. Thanks so much, Kitty.
Okay. Catch you later. Bye-bye.